and welcome to this special bonus episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Innes. I'm delighted to have this amazing, beautiful soul, Matilda, joining me. Welcome, lovely.
Hi, so excited to be here.
We are going to be dropping something pretty epic, which I'm really excited to talk about. But you know that I can get so carried away. So I'm just going to get you to introduce yourself to everyone, and we're going to ask you some amazing questions and get to know you more.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Matilda Morgan. I'm CEO and founder of Expansive Direction. And where do I start? I think my journey is all through self-expression. That's how I love to kind of introduce myself. It's like, how can we like show up in our fullest, most confident, most like, us in our self-expression visually. So in our style, in our business systems, and particularly like using human design and archetypes. And I'm a big systems nerd. So over the last, 10 years plus, I've had this journey through being a fashion stylist, having my own, fashion label. I'm a trained garment pattern maker. I've had a brick and mortar store, and then I've gone through to discover, this entrepreneurial personal branding angle to everything, and that how empowering it is to really work with people to show their personal brand and their self-expression. So it's been this winding journey to where I am today in Expansive Direction. I hope that explains a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're truly amazing of what what you create, but also like just your energy and what you bring to people as well. And it's really like, for me, like I'm very selective with people who I want to bring on board, on and to work with, because I think you've got to have that full alignment, not just in business, but like your personal values and all that sort of stuff. So I'm super excited for what we're going to be talking about a little bit later as well. So we're just going to drop a little hint, for them, like to say, hey, you've got to watch to the end. So, like I love, like obviously, what you're talking about with a personal branding, but obviously incorporating that with, human design, because from, obviously stepping out of corporate, I was so attached to my corporate identity. And then when you come into business, you start to develop this new way of self. And, what's it like, when you work with people and you start to see them really step into their true self, like a really evolve, and what they've seen as one area, but then you sort of like help them sort of, bloom into so many more different things as well. What's that like when you work with clients and you get to experience all of that?
It's so much fun. It's just because I can kind of see. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm a projector. So my personal experience, even going into entrepreneurship and stuff, was all my mentors and doing all these different things. They're all manifesting generators. So you guys will learn about this later, but none of that worked for me. And so it was this really big unlearning from like not just business models and how to get clients and the usual thing, but how to get up in the morning. What do I want to get dressed with? The whole alignment of like, how do I actually create space to rest so that I can be more productive and feel into my intuition more? It was just a massive unraveling. And one of the things with me is like, I'm an investigating martyr. So I try by doing. So I am that little guinea pig. I will investigate a different thing and then I will guinea pig myself to learn the processes. So how that goes back to that is just like I get that I've gone through the process that everyone else has gone through. I've tried so many different ways and I can see that. So when I'm working with people and I see that evolution with what they're going through, like I can feel it intensely and I'm like, great. And it's so interesting finding that balance between, okay, these are points that you need to learn and discover yourself, and I'll just guide you and direct you. And then they just fall into this ease, this ease. Oh, I get to be me. It's like, and sometimes it goes back to as simply as like one of my clients, she was like, she's got a really flourishing business, and in terms of her personal style and that self-expression, it was just that uncertainty. And when I went shopping, and she's like, you mean I can wear these shoes? I'm like, yes, you can wear these shoes. She's like, seriously? That would make my heart sing. I'm like, yes, you can. And just simple things like that. It's like, yeah, you get to be you in all that you are, inside and outside, and people love you for it. And it's just this realization that you see coming through in their confidence as they speak, in their photo shoots, in, their storytelling and everything. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
And it's really interesting, like, because, I remember like every day in corporate, I would come home and I'm so exhausted. And it is because I was pretending to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think so many people in business, they're like, of course you've got to hustle, you've got to, do all the things that you need to do, but when you show up for yourself, it should be with ease. And when you feel like, oh, this is just effortless, like, how is this not difficult? Then you're on that right pathway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you're doing something that you love, like, I think you and I can say that pretty confidently. Like, when you're waking up and going, I love what I do, I believe in what I do, that should be enough. If you're like doing that and you're still going, why is it so hard? Then that's a big invitation to change everything. That is freedom, because there's so many entrepreneurs and coaches out there that's like, I freaking love what I do. I love who I serve, but it's like, great. How we get to remove the but.
Yeah.
Likewise, from, completely changing from corporate as well. It's like you get to remove the but. You get to be, that beautiful exhaustion at the end of the day of like fulfilled. So I call it like that fulfilled exhaustion, when you're just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a great night's sleep tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I love, like, back in corporate days, I did disc profiling. So, and I'm actually credited in that. But what I've been learning more about human design, which I'm going to have to get you to do my profile for me, is that it goes back to, like, disc is very subjective, because it's, depending on what I found is the role that you're in. It's also, it could be the mood that you're in, just, different variables. But human design is really true to who you are, because it goes back to like your birth and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, totally. That's what I love the most about it, because even, with Briggs Meyer, the kind of the interview-based style, it depends what mindset you're in, and often will compartmentalize. You'll go, oh, I'm in work self now, or I'm in home self, whereas actually everything affects the whole. So, so that's what I found. Like you can be pretty consistent with the disc, or with the dominant attributes, or with, wealth dynamics or Myers-Briggs or any of those systems. I find like, yeah, that certainty of like, no, this is in your actual design, in your imprinted in your DNA, in your soul. Like, it's so much more, I guess it's like permission. It's that great permission of like, oh, I get to lean in. That doesn't make it easier, like knowing, like, sometimes you go through these profiles, and even my thing, and when I'm in not self, I'll go through my profile again and actually be able to tell exactly where I'm, get to question myself, and that's a slap in the face. Sometimes you're like, oh, okay, I get to be this person, so how can I get to be this person even more? And that's often what we're not told we can do.
Yeah, and I love that you said, like, you give yourself permission, because I think so many times that, we do things and it comes back to being like a child. It's like sometimes you have to give, like, I give myself permission to have fun. I give myself permission to be successful. And you sometimes just have to go back to being like a little child again, and, to say, it's okay. It's okay for you to be like that.
Yeah, how can I do this with curiosity? And it's okay. Just like lessen the blow a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Like, I love playing with my grandson, because it's like I get to be a kid again, and it's almost like, oh my God, I get to go and play in the dirt. Like, it's so much fun. But if you were just to do it by yourself, like, you wouldn't. So
No, I think for me it always goes back to safety. I'm like, how can I? And it is that. It's like you're literally going, how can I set my whole system and soul in that state of safety
Mm.
so that my aura can expand, so that I can really get in tune with the decisions from like having a coffee to, moving to a different country. It's like that safety of it. It's both an inner and an outer safety. It's really, really interesting. And that doesn't mean, you have to suddenly, go from here to here. It could be just like, whoop, 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 every day. But yeah.
Yeah. And how do you think that, like, as people starting out in business, like, why make the investment to have like an assessment done in human design?
Oh my God, it would save so much time. So much time. And like, look, it's a balance because there's still that embodied, that learning, that experimenting, the process. But I think, I've been leaning into my experiment. Obviously, I do this now with all my clients for the last kind of 2 years, and it's just quantum leaps, because what it actually gives you is it gives you the cheat sheet to you and how you make decisions, and the environments, even just the work environments. This has been a massive changer for me and my client, like this, people that I work with, even friends, to go, hey, actually your design, you need consistency. One of the biggest things for me was going, you don't operate in consistency. You don't set up a singular workplace and do that. And I used to wonder why I used to waste so much time and feel like, just because I'd always get up from my desk. And it's like, oh, actually I'm supposed to be a floater like everywhere. So
Mm.
really simple things like that, to how you communicate to, a lot of people will have that really demanding aura. So it's like, well, how can you create that safety for the people coming? It's business structure, everything's in it. Branding is in it, colors, everything. It's all in your design, that you can literally go, oh, now I can just focus on my mission and my why, and connecting with people. So
Mm.
yeah.
And I think, like, so many, like, I mean, obviously I've learned so much being in business, and obviously 22 years working in corporate, mainly in management and looking at people. I think that if you were to bring on a team, knowing who you are is actually going to help you bring on people that's going to complement you and maybe fill in the gaps that you need as well. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, 100%. And yeah, that's been a big thing for like everyone that I've seen as well. Like even just in relationships, personal relationships as well. Like I look at, a lot of like couples, and which is the same as a business partner. And you can see the compatibility of those people working together. And often it's been really interesting, like longtime friends or people will have some of the same gates. And it's like, oh, this is why you guys have this shared vision. Uh,
Mm.
so in terms of like working together, yeah, you can create the balance of, what is missing in your business. It could be simply like, I need someone who has the ability to create network and the connector. So I would look for someone with the human design of an opportunist, because they're incredible networkers. I would, if there's something that I needed someone to be a lead person with, I'll go for a manifester, because they can just cut through everything, but they're not there to do the back end.
Yeah.
And so you can really kind of come in, and then you can get really, really, in depth and dynamic with the numbers and the gate. I won't go too far into the detail, but the insights are incredible. So yeah, in terms of how everyone can work together, I had the best Christmas ever because I know my whole family's design.
That's so cool. So cool. It's like having like a personal shopper within yourself, knowing what they, they want.
Yeah, like you just like they'll just say something. Oh yeah, I get that now. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Like, one of the things that's been stopping me from doing my human design is I don't know my time of birth. So
Mm,
is there a way around that for people?
yeah, like look, this is such a controversial subject. For some readers, they'll be like, no, you have to have the exact time of birth. Like as long as you know your date, and you can usually go at the worst like 12 midday.
Yeah.
So that will give you your main things. So the things that will shift depending on the specific dates will be like the specific gates orientation, and so like if you think of if you're familiar with the astrology chart, that circular chart, and then it's got so I Ching. Human design, even gene keys, it's all got 64 gates around that chart. So it simply will change if you don't know the specific time of birth, like the slight orientation of a specific gate. But overall, you will get incredible insights. Otherwise, if you kind of know you're born in the morning, make a ballpark figure. But in terms of like the learnings that you can have, it's still immense. It will just be really that specific gate structure.
Mm. And like obviously, you talked about, the branding and styling and all that as well, because I think a lot of people really struggle with that in when they first start out in business. So if you are trying to build a business that, say your brand is just not aligning, there could be simply a color, it could be even a font, and it's just not picking up because it's not even aligning to you. And this is why I love what it potentially can help with people, is sort of like going, oh, well, no, that's me. Because a lot of, when you are starting out in business, you are the brand.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Until like you're doing 5 mil plus, like that's what the common analysis is in the bedroom, in the business world.
I love it.
It's basically the bedroom. It's like it's generally until you're doing 5 mil plus a year, like your personal brand is still going to be hugely important. And yeah, so that's my kind of thing. As I've connected, because I'm a nerd, connected all the 64 gates to the 12 archetypes. So each of the gates has this beautiful archetypal expression and association with different colors, different textures, different styles in terms of like interior and clothing. And it's been really interesting, the accuracy of it.
Yeah.
So and it's still something that's like you get to lean into and experiment, because that's like a complete, and this is where it's like your work and is so important as well, because it's like usually the confidence to show self, because human design is like, and what I do is like I can go here, this is you, you're beautiful unicorn superstar, this is the true you, and this is like what you can show up as. But it's like the actual confidence to do it is different. But in terms of like, yeah, personal branding strategy and the systems and all the things in place, like it's in certain gates.
Mm.
So, and it's a beautiful dynamic mix of that. And it's very, very interesting. So I can look at, I've been doing Rihanna as an example recently. And if you like watch Arnold on Netflix, really interesting, Arnold Schwarzenegger, their brands correlate with their human design. So
Mm.
visually, they're expressing the archetypes that come naturally to them. And what that does is that means that that's what helps it become effortless. Because obviously there's still effort in presenting yourself a certain way to create that consistency. However, it's like it's much easier if that's you.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like even like if I look back, just like when I first started, I was so uncomfortable, like everything still had to be perfect, and that's the perfectionism in me as well. But as you sort of let that go, but also trust yourself more,
Mm.
you sort of find that like I'm okay now, like I will show up and do videos without makeup on, like I'm like super okay with that, because that's just me. And it's actually letting go that it's not about me anymore, it's actually about my clients and the people I want to serve. And I think that's a hard thing for people to really, go that, yeah, the business is you, but you're actually here to serve your clients.
Oh my God, 100%. And I feel like people get stuck as well in like they like have this vision of like my clients are queens, my clients are, rebels, my clients are this, like, and are actually questioning, is that someone else's want. Because when you turn up as you actually attract your ideal clients and stuff with ease because they resonate with who you are, no matter how you show up. So I think it's almost like it's almost questioning the form of success and questioning like this, like for what purpose does like someone need to show up like that to be successful, to invest, to do all those things? Because it's been really interesting because I'm the same. I've got a lot of in my profile. I've got, you know, some magician and queen. I have a lot of every person. I have a lot of sage. They're not interested in what they look like, which is ironic because I do styling and personal branding, but it's super casual. So,
Mm.
so what I've discovered is as I've turned out more as me and like put forth more this every person is that the people that I love to work with that are still super driven, that are still got big visions and have amazing businesses and to serve their clients, they're like, yeah, I like you because I can connect with you. It's just, it's not
Yeah.
this. And in then the people they want to call in are like them. So it's, yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. Because I always find that, you know, a lot of the times, like we continually evolve. Like
Mhm,
I always say that, you know, every minute you're evolving because it's based on an experience. It could be a conversation, you know, it just could be something that you're realizing yourself. But as you learn to do that, like you grow. But if you can come back and, you know, like what you're talking about with the human design, and you sort of like working out like what are those sort of like core pillars as such, with it, it actually automatically go, oh well, that's why I made that decision, or that's why that happened, or, you know, this is why I'm working, you know, and doing what you're doing. Because a lot of times entrepreneurs fall into their business.
yeah, yeah. You get stuck in the doing of stuff without it's just, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's very, very frustrating. And a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize when they're actually frustrated or angry or what they're actually angry or frustrated or bitter or any of the not self themes with, because they are stuck in their business.
Mm,
So they'll say like, oh, it's because I da da da, when actually it's a completely different underlying foundational reason, which can be kind of seen with the design aspects. It's very cool.
yeah. And does that really help with people, you know, like there's certain moments, you know, that I'm like I experience even myself, and like when I'm working with people, that you talk about like getting stuck, but sometimes it's just you getting in your own way.
It's always you. It's always us. Yeah, yeah. It's usually for me, for example, like my design is like I always speak from personal experience. It's usually because I'm in indecision.
Mm,
And I've not allowed myself space because I need a lot of silence to actually digest and, you know, consider things. So it's like if I'm in indecision, then I probably haven't allowed myself space
mm,
because I might have been, you know, doing all the things and then I've
yeah,
gone, I've got to keep on doing all the things. And I really want to watch that TV show because that's going to help me unwind. But really, what's going to help me is actually going, you know what? I'm just going to sit in silence.
yeah.
And like it feels so counterintuitive, but it's like that's like, you know, giving that space, giving that time. And then it's like, oh, actually, this is that decision.
Mm. I love all this sort of stuff because I honestly, like I feel like I'm such a different person, like obviously now starting my business, whereas I was in corporate, because I was living somebody else's mission, purpose, and values, and now having that for myself. Is by knowing your human design, is that also going to help you understand your own values and help you? Because I always feel like values are like key to everybody. Everybody should know what their values are.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. So it's like, it's really interesting because I view it as human design as like your car.
Yeah.
And so that's like the mode and the method of which you make the decisions, and it's like the how you can be in best flow. And it certainly has indications of your purpose and your why and like your, you know, the values, and it kind of aligns to like, oh, of course, that makes sense, like these are your values, but your values come from generally from that personal experience. So your lived experience, because you get your human design at birth, but you're still going to have those daily human experiences of life and whatever that is and whatever family you get gifted with, and
Mm.
that kind of moves in parallel, and informs how you can do that. So values are really important. They can kind of shift as well. And generally, with personal branding, I generally say like you might have 100 values that are personal to you, but which ones are the priorities? Which ones, do you want to share with your audience, because you want to be a value connect with your audience in that aspect. And then your human design is the vehicle in which you can go and visit them.
I love that analogy of it, because
Mm.
like a lot of the times people think that these, assessments and all that sort of stuff will just allow, you know, to let go as such, and you're not in control. It's like, oh, it's already predestined, or it's already but like you're saying, like, that's the vehicle of it. So you're still in control. You still got to drive it.
Yeah, you still got, it's like it's just going, it's literally like the best way I can go is like it's literally the decision maker.
Yeah.
So clear. So usually what we do, we're so kind of jumbled up and we can't actually connect to our whichever center it is that will make the decision for us quicker. So then we make wrong decisions. Then that creates a distrust of self, which creates safety of self. And that's where like the stress, the overwhelm, all the stuff comes in. So when we can clear that by leaning into the human design, the method, and like basically cleaning out the car of the vehicle, getting all the trash out and all the takeaway cups, and then we can actually see clearly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's really, but you are still absolutely in control. Like I know, a few people with like you look at their charts, are super similar, but they have different gate structure. And then how they're going to relate to that gate structure is going to be different because they've got different life experiences. So,
Mm,
yeah.
I love
And
it. I
the
love
more
it.
I like lean into this experiment, like it's like with everything, the more you're just like, yeah.
And I think the more you know about yourself too, the better you can, you know, understand, why you make certain decisions that way. Or like you said, you need quiet space, whereas I need noise. Like, that's how I operate. Like I love to be busy. And when I'm busy, I actually make decisions quicker and faster.
Yeah.
Opposed to then otherwise, if I'm slowing down, I'll procrastinate, and then yeah. So
Oh my God, absolutely. I've got a few clients where I'm just like, they'll be like, oh, I've got to, I'm like, no, go work at a cafe. Make sure you're talking to people. Make sure you're like,
yeah,
is on, go do that stuff.
yeah,
Um, it's it's very interesting when
yeah.
you.
Oh,
Mm,
I love it. Well, I'm excited because we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing together. And I think it's just a perfect synergy. We've known each other probably for about 12 months now. And I know time just flies. But yeah, I absolutely, like I said, I really love what you're doing and what you can bring. And really, like you said, like bring that confidence out into people, because before they can share their story, they've got to be really confident. And confidence for me is not about just being able to get up on stage or anything like that. It's confidence with self and knowing who you are. And I think that's why it's going to be really lovely what we're bringing together.
yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, we're going to be first of all doing a masterclass, and we're going to be talking around about, obviously, visibility, and we're talking around about human design, and you're going to be sharing your gifts of, human design, and, how that's also going to help people as well. And then once they've got that confidence, then I can help them with the visibility side of things as well. And so I think that's like a perfect synergy, because I have so many clients, say to me, I'm not ready to be visible. And a lot of it comes down to they don't know themselves.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's like all about what becoming comfortable with being visible, and yeah, it's just once you kind of have that inner permission, yes, it's like it's still going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Growth is always uncomfortable. However, like with that awareness of self and with that, beautiful like expertise guidance,
Yeah.
it's like, of course you can do it.
Yeah.
And then people are like amazed by your story. I just love it.
Thank you. Thank you. But I like one of the key things like I really wanted to sort of, work with you is, obviously learning more about, human design. And I'm excited. I'm going to get you to do my chart. But, also to like understanding personal branding, because I think that also helps with being confident. And if you're really comfortable with your brand, then you really are going to be able to really show up authentically as well.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, 100%. And it gets to be really simple too. I think some people, like, especially at the start, they go, oh my God, it's got to be this whole thing. And yes, there is strategy. And, like, as you know, there's like, the investment and, photo shoots and, being able to actually write your story and tell your story and share your story and being seen. Uh, it gets to be really easy. It
Yeah.
gets to be really easy. And like once you know that unique part of self, like which is in the design, then you're like, oh, out of all these billions of possibilities, actually it's just that. It's really simple. So
Yeah.
it removes all that overwhelm and allows that confidence to flow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like you said, it does make it easier. And a lot of people are going, oh, how can it get easier? But it's sort of like you said, it's giving yourself permission to fully step into that true self of you, not a projection of what other people think you need to be, but you coming back to who you truly are.
Yeah, yeah. Look, the faster that everyone, I'm going to say practices being who they are,
Mm,
the faster they're going to get where they're going.
yeah.
So it's never going to be like, I wish we could just have a magic pill where we can just, all the confidence of the world and everything's solved. And as soon as we step out the door, boom. So it's like, but everyone that we see that's, on stages, that's on covers, that's, who we are inspired by, they've started by being who they are and then worked up to that.
I love that so much because a lot of people said to me, "Oh, do you want to be the next Oprah?" I'm like going, "No," because Oprah's Oprah. Like, we are all such unique individuals, and why would we want to be somebody else when we get to be ourselves?
Yeah. Yeah, I always find that funny when they're like, "Yeah, I want to do the branding like that." I'm like, "Cool." So they've built their brand by being uniquely them. So why don't we build your brand by being uniquely you? We can
Yeah.
take inspiration from them, absolutely. Like, there's no point in reinventing the wheels when it comes to systems and business models and all that kind of stuff. But
Mm,
in terms of how you show up, it's going to be different. Uh,
mm,
that's how they got to where they are. Like Richard Branson, Oprah, Rihanna, Lady Gaga. I always use entertainers because they're usually overt and big.
yeah.
Uh, they're not replicas of anyone.
Yeah. It's so true. So what can people expect from you in the masterclass that we're going to be delivering?
Yes. So, what I'll be going through is a really juicy like introduction of like the human design types and how you can use that to leverage into your personal branding and create that balance and aura. So, there's going to be some really cool strategy stuff there and little tips for each of the types because usually it's just like little simple changes that in reframes so that each of the human design types can really flourish into who they are. So.
Yeah. And will people need to know, like, is there a way for them to find out what their type is first before they come to the masterclass?
Yeah, totally. So there's heaps of apps, heaps of like, so usually there's like type in human design chart 3 into Google and there'll be heaps of different, there's so much. So one of the things with human design is like, there's a lot of information on the internet. There's a lot. So, and one of the powerful things of actually, like with anything is getting a coach or working with someone is that they can actually interpret it for you rather than you kind of going, what does that mean? And one of the things, like, it's like with astrology, it's like there's so much out there. It's like, well, what's the actual tangible takeaway? Great, awesome. I am someone who is, has the aura of freedom and blah, blah, blah. What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
What we're looking for in terms of getting your chart. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can interpret it one way, but for somebody like you, who's the expert, who's really studied it, understands it. And sometimes it's just the way that certain people explain things, it sort of like clicks and goes, oh my God, now I get it.
Yeah. And like, I think that's one of my, like, I'm happy to say, own that is like, I'm very tangible. I'm a Taurus. I'm very practical. And that's my key thing is like, well, great. We can have all this information, but if we can't actually use it in business and in becoming ourselves even more, then what's the point? So that's what I'm going to walk through, and I'll have a few little special things as well on hand. So maybe a little PDF here and there.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Oh, well, I'm going to share with them like the power of owning their story, because a lot of people, they're sort of like going, oh, well, I've got a story, but I don't want to share it. But the power of owning a story is that it's your story. So the only one who needs to know everything but own it is you. And I think that's how that's how I've been able to be confident in knowing what to share and what not to share. Because, I mean, look, I do share a lot, but there are certain things that I still keep to myself. But for me to be able to overcome what I've gone through in life is me owning it. And I'm the only one that needs to stand in the mirror and going, this is what's happened. This is what it is. Or I've made this mistake. Or, I don't call them mistakes now. They're learning lessons, all these different things. But if you can truly own it, then the power comes back to you and you're not giving that away to other people. And that's, I think, for every business owner, when you are just starting out, you are the business, you are the brand, you've got to be able to shout and from the rooftop what you're doing and fully own it. So that's what I'm really excited to share with people, because that's how you also learn to get visible, is by sharing your story and how to craft it as well.
Yeah, that's going to be so powerful, especially like that mix of that, like, that inner knowing and then going, oh my God, you mean I don't have to share photos of my breakfast? You don't have to. So you can choose and really, really get articulate about like how you're shouting your story and sharing it. Only I freaking love this. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I'm super excited. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop a link below where you can go ahead, you can take a look at what we're going to be offering, you can register for it and register for the masterclass. And, we're going to record it. So if you can't be there live, that's okay. We'll get the recording for you, but there's going to be so much insight into this for you. And I think, like you said, it's just the perfect combination to fully understand who you are, but then also to take it to the next step of how you can use that and now also go within self, but own your story to be able to, and there's my dog shaking herself in the background. And be able to really be confident. Like, I mean, like, this is just a perfect example. Like, so many people would be embarrassed, like if their dog barked or, kids like interrupt. But now I'm like, no, this is me. Like, yeah, like my dog's part of my life now. So there's just nothing.
Dog mamas for the win.
Yeah, exactly. So I am so excited, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts, not only in this special episode, but helping us bring something so magical to people. And I know that this is going to help so many people who are either thinking of starting a business or in business already, and just sort of having that sort of inner turmoil going, something's just not fitting.
And I think even like particularly now in this world where like things are changing so rapidly, there's a lot of like uncertainty that like you can still grow, you can still evolve. There's still so much opportunity and beautiful things happening. So, and the world needs to hear your voice. Basically, the world needs to hear. This is the time when like the world needs to hear it.
Yeah.
So
definitely, yeah. So we're going to drop all the links below and how you can reach out to both Matilda and myself, but also how you can come along and register for this amazing masterclass as well. So if you are in business or if you are thinking of starting a business, or even just want a career change and you want to know more about yourself, how to then also get visible. Because even when you're promoting yourself, like, and, you know, going to interviews, learning that confidence, how to effectively share your story, share your, you know, achievements as well, this is going to benefit for you. So make sure you come along and join us both, and we're going to pop all the details below and come and register for the event. So thank you, my beautiful friend, for joining me and for sharing more about human design and how people can reach out to us as well.